Welcome to another VeVe Digital Collectibles comic breakdown. I'm Corey with VeVe, and the comic that we'll be looking at today is Marvel's Incredible Hulk 418. While the story focused on the wedding of Hulk's first and oldest best friend, Rick Jones, it's also one of those wild comics that includes a ton of fun cameos and even the first appearance of Talos, a Skrull many of you are becoming pretty familiar with. Before we dive into this Hulk-sized history, let's quickly go over the drop details. Incredible Hulk 418 releases on Tuesday, July 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, minting 7.5k editions across the 5 rarities. This comic will have a retail price of 6.99 gems. This will be a blind box waitlist drop. For more information about how the waitlist drops work on VeVe, please check the video description for a full breakdown article. Published on June 1st of 1994, with a story by Peter David and art by Gary Frank, this is another classic wedding comic that gives us snapshots into a ton of different characters across the Marvel Comics universe of the time. My favorite moments include the invitation of Drax the Destroyer, who in a heartwarming moment reveals a softer, more fun side of his character. The artistic style and rendering of Mephisto as he plots to take the soul of the bride. And of course, we have to show some love to the first comic appearance of Talos the Tamed. Not gonna spoil the comic too much because this is a fun one to read through, but let's touch on Talos the Tamed because again, this is his first appearance comic. Uniquely, Talos did not possess the ability to shapeshift like the rest of his species. To make up for this deficiency, he modified his body with cyborg parts to make him stronger. Considered one of the most feared Skrull fighters alive, his strength, intelligence, and battle prowess made him a formidable opponent. Last seen facing off against the horror that is Null in the 2020 comic Web of Venom Empire's End, Talos' current whereabouts are unknown. Beyond the pages, a very unique depiction of Talos has made its way into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. First seen in Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel, we've now seen that character evolve even further in Marvel Studios' Secret Invasion on Disney+. No spoilers as this series just released, but I can say that Talos has already established himself as one of the most interesting characters in the series for me so far. Whether on screen or on page, we can thank the comic that's releasing today, Incredible Hulk 418, for giving us a character and story that has evolved for more than a quarter of a century. And adding to that history, we have our VeVe-Exclusive rare and ultra rare covers. These are coming from Sergio Davila, Parsons, and Ceci Cruz. These covers appear to be an homage to the comic directly after this one, Incredible Hulk 419, where Talos and Hulk would cross fists for the first time. Alright, let's dig into all the rarities and the editions being minted. First, the common classic cover is minting 4,500 editions. Marvel has released many iconic wedding event comics, and this one features a ton of amazing characters. To include one dapper and tearful Hulk, Rick Jones's best man, has to navigate some wildly unexpected guests to this event, and that's partially what makes this such a fun comic to read. Next, the uncommon vintage variant is minting 1,687 editions. Bride, groom, and the best man get the color selection on this cover. Rick Jones and Marlo had to go through a lot to get to the altar and tie the knot, but after this comic, readers were wondering what diabolical plans Mephisto had for Marlo, as he had made a bid for the bride-to-be's soul the night before this big day. The rare hero variant in our first VeVe-Exclusive is coming from Parsons and Sergio Davila. This one is minting 750 editions. I mentioned earlier that this cover appears to be homaging the fight between Talos and Hulk, which occurred in the comic directly after this one. Again, Marvelites and VeVe comic diehards will enjoy knowing that the on-screen and comic depictions and appearance of Talos has been different. Next, the ultra-rare Vibranium variant is minting 375 editions. The full color saturation of this cover adds a visual weight to the action, and we have Ceci Cruz to thank for this. Talos was titled Talos the Untamed in comics, and that's because he had been disgraced and deemed a coward by both the Kree and the Skrulls. He wanted to die in the field of battle to reclaim his honor amongst the Skrull Empire. What better way to achieve a glorious death than by fighting the Hulk? Finally, the secret rare True Believer variant is minting 188 editions. This is an interior panel pull, and here's the panel it is being sourced from. These are my favorite kinds of panel selections because this one is the first panel ever depicting Talos in a comic book. It's cool to look at a cover and know the reference material was homaging the source material and history in such a big way. In this particular panel, Talos is being called out for his perceived cowardice. something he'd pretty much remedy in that Hulk fight in the next comic. And that's a wrap for this breakdown video. A thing I love about collecting on VeVe, especially when it comes to Marvel and comics, is whenever the characters and comics that we're getting are still influencing modern day stories. With that being said, best of luck if you decide to go for this one. Until the next breakdown video, keep learning, sharing, and collecting what you love. This is Corey with VeVe, signing off.